Welcome back for another historic video. Today we'll be taking a look at this Scurry Oak Basking Broodscale combo deck. The gist of the deck is to combine Scurry Oak or Basking Broodscale, both of which, when 1/1 counters are put on the creature, will generate a token, alongside with Heliod Suncrowned and Rosie Cotton of the South Lane, both of which will allow you to continue to place 1/1 counters on the creatures when the tokens come into play, creating an infinitely large creature along with an infinitely large board state. If you have multiple life gain creatures in play with Heliod, you will also be able to make all of your creatures infinitely large and gain infinite life as well. And then in order to tutor up our combo pieces, we have 4 birthing rituals, which will allow us to sacrifice some redundant creatures and seek out our combo pieces, as well as 4 copies of Collected Company and 3 copies of Chord of Calling to tutor for our missing pieces. When this card deck combos off, Scurry Oak is the better of the two because it gives you creatures with power and toughness, allowing you to go wide and get past any of your opponent's blockers on the following turn, whereas Basking Broodscale is creating 0/1 creatures, which aren't going to be able to attack your opponent directly. But the spawns do, however, allow you to cast a lot of cards on the following turn using the spawn as mana, and then for the colored pips, you still will need to use one of your lands. And Guide of Souls will also allow you to give one of your large creatures flying after you've put a bunch of token creatures into play and generated a bunch of energy. When it comes to lands, we have 1 Boseiju as a utility land, as well as a single Witch Enchanter to take out any lock pieces that we might come up against. And outside of that, the deck is really just trying to assemble this A-B combo as quickly as possible, and then either smacking our opponent with a really large creature or going wide of them to finish off the game. So let's jump into the gameplay and see how the deck does. I don't think we can keep this 1-lander. This is better. We will return Rosie back to the deck and start on a Soul Warden. Our opponent might be on the Wizards deck based on the revealing of Gigantha. Okay, they appear to be back. Here we will just play out our Heliod. Hit for 1. Opponent shocks in a Soulscar Mage and a second. This will allow us to collect the company. Here we will get a Broodscale and a Soul Warden, and that should regame. See if our opponent makes us click through it, or if they concede. Thankfully, they throw in the towel. Okay, this is a good opening hand. Play our Pathway, and then we will start off with Guide of Souls. try to start accumulating some energy. Green deck from our opponent. Move it to 1. Pass it to our opponent. They appear to be on an elf deck. Here we will play out a birthing ritual. We'll attack with both. Be happy to trade either. And then let's see what we flip. Here we get a Scurry Oak, which we will take. So if we get a land off the top here, we will be able to combo off, creating an infinitely wide board and gaining infinite life, in theory. And our opponent collected company into 2 Priest of Titania, but that is not going to be enough. So we will play our Heliod, and this is actually going to be lethal on this turn because with a double life gainer, we'll be able to make Guide of Souls infinitely large as well. So we need 17 counters on Guide of Souls, and our opponent concedes. Good game. Alright, this is a keepable hand. We do want to draw into more mana. Start off with a Soul Warden, pass it back to our opponent. It appears to be on an affinity deck. We'll shock in for Broodscale. And hit the 1. Soul Warden's a good counter if our opponent is going to be creating a lot of tokens with Pinnacle Emissary. Cast to draw 2. And another drum. Okay. Here we can play out Rosie, and this will make an infinitely large Broodscale, which will end the game. Good game. Okay, this is a good opening hand. Even without one of our combos, Heliod, along with a bunch of life-giving creatures, can still be very powerful. Looks like we are up against a hammer deck. We will start off with Guide of Souls, which should be able to block the goblin if they do not have an equipment. Cloud will be able to tear up the hammer. Okay. Here we will play Hushword into our Broodscale. And then no attacks. Sended Canyon. Kemba will reduce the equipment cost of Hammer down to a single pip, which means they'll be able to equip it to the Goblin Cavalier here. And they swing in for 15. We will take it. We need Rosie off the top. We do not get it. There's no way to gain life with Heliod here. So we are going to fall to this hammer deck. I need to put at least 4 damage in front of the goblin. And we'll keep Basking Broodscale just in case we top deck Rosie. It's always important to play to your outs. Now with 2 chump blockers, I don't think there's anything we can do. And our opponent has the thud, so they will deal 13 direct damage. Good game. Okay, this is a keepable opening hand. Because we have cord in our hand, I'm going to start on Brushland and take the damage. That way, hopefully, we can play Pathway on green and some type of Domain Zoo from our opponent. We'll start on Soul Warden. Here we play a Broodscale, for 1. If there's no interaction from our opponent, next turn Rosie will be able to make Broodscale infinitely large, and we will win the game. So now we just have to put 19 power onto Broodscale. And we will skip ahead. Our opponent concedes. Good game. This is a good hand. We curve Soul Warden into Broodscale, and then a 3rd land will give us a combo attempt. Veteran from our opponent. Followed up by a Sheltered by Ghosts. Here we will play our Pathway into Broodscale. We still have a combo attempt next turn. And then Heliod is not going to do it. Let's see if our opponent attacks in. They do not. We are still going to attempt our combo. Our opponent will be forced to chump block, and we'll get our Soul Warden back. Attack in with Broodscale. Pass the turn. We possibly should have gotten a couple points higher, factoring in the life gain on our opponent's side. Now they're going to have another chump blocker. But Heliod here will make all of our creatures infinitely large, so we want to put a couple on to Broodscale. And then we'll put one on to our token, and our opponent concedes. But again, here we would play out Heliod using a few more of our spawns, and then the second Rosie would allow us to gain infinite life. And when we gain infinite life, we can put infinite token counters on our tokens, and we have more than enough attackers here to go wide of our opponent's chump blockers. Okay, this one I think we're going to take a mulligan. No play until turn 3 when we play Rosie, and then the birthing ritual doesn't have anything to sacrifice. This is better. We'll put back one of the Chord of Calling, and we will start off with our Dagger Souls. A fetch land from our opponent. They tutor up the mountain, and then an Unlucky Witness. Innkeeper, good top deck. This will get us another mana for Heliod. And I'm okay attacking in with Guide of Souls. Our opponent takes it. Pass the turn. Battle Forge from our opponent into a Johnny. So this is an energy variant.
It's not perfect.
Blocks. Unfortunately, we missed out on a land drop, so I think we're just going to play Heliod here. And then no attacks. We're looking to dodge cards like Goblin Bombardment that will transform a Johnny. Black mana revealed as well, which means they could be running some discard or Obnixilis. They play a Guide of Souls and a Marionette Apprentice. So again, we need a mana off the top here to present the combo. It would also allow us to give one creature flying and swing in over our opponent's board. We get the Broodscale, which will not do it. Chord, you can only tap creatures, and since Heliod's not a creature yet, so we're definitely feeling not having the, and so that will do it. So Broodscale off the top, this will allow us to combo off, and since we have 2 life-gaining creatures in play, we will be able to pump one of them up to 18 and swing in the air for lethal. We'll show our opponent that we can put counters on other creatures, and maybe they'll concede. And we'll put on an extra counter or 2 just to be safe in case I misclick. And we'll pump up Guide of Souls. And without any pitch cast interactions such as Solitude, there should be no interaction from our opponent. We'll cast a couple counters over a different creature. And then we will give our Guide of Souls Flying. And that should be lethal. Good game. Okay, this is a keepable opening hand. Soul Warden into Broodscale. Opponent appears to be on the Wizard's deck, which can be a tough matchup due to all of their removal spells. Soulscar Mage also indicates that they are a burn-heavy variant. Into a Ponder. And we'll take 2. Another Thicket is good. Keeps us from taking damage when we play out on a Broodscale. We gain 1 life and pass it back to our opponent. Dragon Arcanus. Let's see if they can give it haste. Looks like they can. Reckless Charge. We might need to trump block here. Choose Ponder instead, which means we should be able to swing back for lethal. We'll take the damage. Play Rosie. And our opponent concedes. Good game. Alright, so as you saw in the games, we were able to put up quite a few victories assembling the combo. Oftentimes it appeared that our opponent was not familiar with how our deck worked, and they did not leave back adequate blockers on our combo turns, which allowed us to grow our creatures and swing for 1 big attack. It did feel like Birthing Ritual was probably the weakest card in our deck when it comes to tutoring, because it does make you sacrifice one of the pieces that might be required for your combo turn. Similarly, Chord of Calling might not have the number of green pips on creatures that we need to fully support this card. So those are definitely 2 slots I would look at maybe upgrading to more interactive cards or some protection cards for our creatures once they're in play. Outside of that, I was highly satisfied with how the games went. It can be a bit click intensive if your opponent does not concede, but most of the time your opponents will see that the victory is inevitable and they will just throw in the towel and concede the game once you assemble the combo pieces. So that's the deck. I'd like to thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe for more content.